What's up, football heads? Welcome back to that show. As always, I'm your host, Kyle McQueen. I'm coming to you on a wild hair Wednesday. And most of you will probably see this. It's coming out late, about 45 minutes left in the day, Thanksgiving Eve. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. I assume if you watch this, listen to this, it's going to be after the holiday. I hope your Thanksgiving was fantastic. And I hope that you're thankful for just brilliant, brave, outlandish football takes coming from yours truly, and get ready because I'm ready to fire off today. Cesar and I were not able to get together due to the holiday for the Thanksgiving game. Still going to try and make the full episode happen for Sunday's slate and Monday night game, but I got your Thursday Thanksgiving picks for Noob football picks right here, locked and loaded. We're going to go to Cesar live via satellite. But we're going to start out 9:30 in the morning for me, 12:30 for all you East Coasters out there, 11:30 for Central Time, and 10:30 for Mountain. I don't know about Hawaii, but we got the Chicago Bears headed to Detroit, take on the Lions for the first time. This is the third in a three-game divisional stretch for the Bears, who they didn't have any divisional games until 2 weeks ago. They lost to the Packers on the heartbreaker with the blocked field goal, lost last week in a heartbreaker to the Minnesota Vikings in overtime after an electrifying comeback led by Caleb Williams, who looked fantastic. And now they got to play at Detroit, the best team in football. Surely the Detroit Lions are going to handle business against the lowly, downtrodden Chicago Bears. But guess what? I told you outlandish. And on a thankful, grateful Thanksgiving, Chicago fans, they're going to be partying. They're going to have an extra slice of pie. They're going to load up on the libations and celebrate because the Chicago Bears will beat the Detroit Football Lions on Thanksgiving Thursday. You heard it here first. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'm going to go out on that limb and I'm going to say the Chicago Bears beat the Detroit Lions. Here's why. If you listened to the show a couple days ago, Tuesday's show, I talked about how good Caleb looked against the Vikings. And three quarters, it was kind of, you saw bits and pieces here and there. You saw the wild and crazy Caleb. But then come the fourth quarter, you saw the whole picture come together of what Caleb Williams can be. They've lost a couple heartbreakers in a row. They got the shit kicked out of them by the Cardinals. The Commanders game was a heartbreaking loss. There's three losses right there. Commanders, Packers, Vikings. That came down to the last play. Came down to overtime. There's 4-7. They could be 7-4 right now. And we'd be talking about the Bears. If they beat the Commanders, they'd be in the playoffs right now. These are razor-thin margins. And again, a team has to learn how to win. Matt Eberflus on the way out. We all know it. It is what it is. Sorry, buddy, but you're going to get fired. You've made millions of dollars. It's all right. You'll bounce back. You'll be a defensive coordinator somewhere else. Build another great defense. Maybe you get a second shot sometime, but probably not going to happen for him in Chicago. But on this thankful Thanksgiving, Matt Eberflus is going to motivate the boys. He's going to say enough is enough. We keep getting beat on these bullshit last-second plays. We keep getting beat in overtime. A blocked field goal, a Hail Mary. They fight back. They score 11 unanswered to tie a game. Get the only successfully converted onside kick of the season thus far. Overcome an 11-point deficit inside 2 minutes against a Minnesota Vikings defense that has been fantastic this year and was fantastic the whole game. And they blow it in overtime. And Matt Eberflus is going to say, you know what? Enough is enough. Caleb Williams is going to say enough is enough. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and the boys, they're going to get together and say, on this Thanksgiving, the Chicago Bears fans, Chicago at large, and Bears fans worldwide are going to be thankful for us because we're going to get this done. And this is not an indictment on Detroit. I don't think Detroit's about to, fall off a cliff or something like that. I don't even necessarily think it's a case of Detroit, they're cruising. They didn't score 50 points last week, but the defense holds the Colts to 6 points. kind of a cruise control win where you still pretty much dominate the game. So I don't think this is them like, asleep at the wheel, like, we're cruising. Because they know they got the Vikings one game back, and they still play last week of the season, which if the Vikings win, tied head to head, you need those divisional wins for the tiebreaker. They know they got the Packers 2 games back. They play the Packers again. This is not over. They may be the best team in football. They may look head and shoulders better than every other team in football. But they know they can't afford to slip up because you got two great. They are the best team in football in a historically great division, and it's going to keep them sharp. And so I don't think it's them falling asleep at the wheel here. I think this is it's a Thanksgiving miracle. The Bears, man, it's not that they're just losing games. It's not just that they're losing close games. You lose on a Hail Mary, turn around 2 weeks later, you lose on a blocked field goal, turn around the next week, 11-point comeback inside 2 minutes just to lose in overtime. The football gods, I think they're looking at the Bears and they're going to say, you know what? We got to throw you a bone here. We got to throw you guys a bone. You can't have it. Can't have it. It's too much. The Bears fans don't deserve this much misery because it's razor sharp misery. And so I think they're going to find a way. They're going to dig deep. Caleb was playing his best ball last week. We know what the defense is capable of. They didn't have a great game last week, gave up 30 points to the Vikings, but the Vikings have been moving the ball with consistency. They got the best receiver in the game. Jordan Addison went off. TJ Hawkinson went off. Sam Darnold hit. Other than those 2 games, the Colts game and the Jags game, has been dealing all season long. Kevin O'Connell, fantastic offensive coach. So we know that the defense is capable. Now, granted, the Detroit Lions have a hell of an offense. But the Bears are going to look to bounce back. They're going to say, listen, that wasn't us. We gave up 30 points. That ain't Chicago Bears football. That ain't the Chicago Bears defense. Matt Eberflus are going to dig in deep. They're going to play their best game defensively. Caleb and the boys, they got all the weapons. They started figuring it out a little bit towards the end of the game, how we can utilize these guys. They looked like they were in a rhythm. They're going to bounce back, and they're going to pull off a massive upset. The Chicago Bears get their first divisional win over the Detroit Football Lions. And now we're going to go live via satellite to beautiful, sunny Puerto Rico to see what the football noob himself, Cesar Rodriguez, has to say. Cesar, who you picking on this one?
We got the Bears visiting the Lions, and I think the Lions are going to obliterate the Bears. But, any given Thursday, I guess, the Bears have been close to beating the Packers and the Vikings in the past 2 weeks. So, who knows? Maybe the Lions' injuries catch up to them and they're able to get it done. But I'm still picking the Lions.
All right, we're back. Thank you, Cesar. He laid it out as well. He Detroit by a lot, and it is what it is. But he laid it open because he knows Chicago. They got a prayer of a chance any given Thursday, baby. It's a lot to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving Thursday. Next, the game everyone's gonna sleep through. It sucks for us West Coast people. It's a 12:30 kickoff, so like you're not gonna eat by then. Maybe, I mean, even on the East Coast, but by halftime, maybe you ate and you take a nap or you go outside, play football with the family or do anything but watch this game. But we got the New York Football Giants of New Jersey headed to Jerry World to take on the Dallas Cowboys. That I told you the Dallas Cowboys were going to pull it off. And did they? Yes, they did. But now they're back at home, have not won at home all year. It's been a house of horrors. They've trailed by 20 or more points in every home game this season. Hasn't been good. But the Giants haven't been good either. Daniel Jones demoted to 3rd string, then 4th string, then cut. Tommy DeVito comes out. They don't do jack shit. They're getting blown out. Malik Neighbors is talking shit. He's calling out the head coach. Different quarterback, same result. What's the problem? You tell me. I don't think the Giants got it. I think they're quitting on the team. There's too much in disarray. Now, if ever they're going to come out and get a win, and the thing here is Tommy DeVito probably not going to play. I am a Drew Lock guy. Drew Lock might come out there. He might put that shit on. And they might take care of business. But I think the Cowboys, I'm not saying they figured something out last week, but you get a little bit of the stink off. You get a win under your belt. You look solid doing it until it got wacky and crazy there at the end. But even with the wacky and craziness, it was like, that's the type of, like, you watched the Eagles game from a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago, Philly and Dallas, and it was just wacky. Like, they've been having wacky shit happen to them all season, and they finally have a bunch of wacky shit happen to them, and they pulled off the win. They found a way to win. I don't think this is going to propel them to win out the rest of the season and finish 10-7 and make the playoffs. But I do think the Dallas Cowboys are going to find a way to win at home on Thanksgiving, where they always, Thanksgiving is always celebrated in the Dallas Cowboys stadium. Whichever stadium they're playing in at a point in time, they are celebrating Thanksgiving. And they know how much this means to Cowboys culture. They know how much it means to the fans. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to get it done 2 weeks in a row, get them to 5-7. And if I'm not going to talk about the Bengals and that we got to bury the Bengals and they're dead and they're not coming back, then I'm not going to sit here and say the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs, because they're not going to make the playoffs. But they are going to get 2 wins in a row here and finally get off the schneid at home in Dallas in 2024. So, Cesar, come on back in live via satellite. Let me know what you think about this one.
We got the Giants visiting the Cowboys. First game back for the Cowboys back at home since going away last week, where they were able to win against the Commanders. Will they be able to beat the Giants at home? Well, I think so. So I'm picking the Cowboys to win.
All right. Well, you heard it from the football noob himself, the noob football fan on Instagram. And now we're going to go to the third game, the night game, the dessert. That's really more of the main dish and the dessert. Possibly the main dish, dessert, and the appetizer if Detroit does come and just blow the doors off of Chicago. But we got the Miami Dolphins back to 5-6. Coming from 2-6, winners of 3 straight, looked fantastic doing it last Sunday. Headed to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers at 8-3, currently the 6th seed. I mean, you hate to see it. 8-3 and you're the 6th seed. Kind of sucks, but that's the state of the NFC. That's the state of the NFC North. It is what it is. This is 5:20 Pacific time, 8:20 Eastern time on NBC. Not Peacock, just NBC. And this is a tough one because I saw a meme today. I saw a meme that the latest concussion for Tua, that it factory reset his brain, and he's now back to Tuscaloosa Tua. 11 touchdowns to 1 interception since he's come back from the injury. He's balling. They looked peak Mike McDaniel, Tua, Tyreek, Miami Dolphins last week. But they are going to Lambeau, and it's going to be cold. We're in late November. It's going to be cold. I don't know what the forecast is. Might even be some snow. That's just me speculating. I hope there's snow because it's fantastic. And the Dolphins do not do well when they move, especially with this track meet offense. And I said a couple weeks ago, they got a nice win, and I felt like they had these long, sustaining drives. It wasn't just like the big shots to Tyreek or any of their guys. Whether it's a Ferrari Lamborghini offense and they can go 80 yards at any given time. But they had these long drives, 15 plays, 17 plays. I think that could be a good formula for them. And I especially think that when you're in the cold, just chip away, keep your defense off the field, keep your offense on the field, keep Green Bay's defense on the field. Keep them, they're out there, they're cold, they're getting banged up. That's Miami's formula for success, to go into Lambeau and win on Thanksgiving against the Packers, who are at 8-3. But I'm picking the Packers. I just think the Lambeau advantage against a team like Miami this late in the season, it's too great of an advantage. I think the Packers are generally a better team. You know how I felt about the Dolphins coming into the season. I was not a believer in them this season. Although they've won 3 in a row, they're starting to come back up. But I think it's too tall of a task on Thanksgiving in the cold in Green Bay. It might be windy. Maybe it'll be snowy. I just think Green Bay, Jordan Love, he had his first game of the year last week that he didn't throw an interception. Granted, he didn't throw a ton of passes, but I think that's a good sign. Defense playing well. Other than that loss to the Lions, they've been cruising for a couple months now. So, the riding high beat the dog shit out of the San Francisco 49ers. Granted, without Brock Purdy, but it's speaking of not having Brock Purdy. Apparently, Fred Warner has been playing on a broken freaking ankle. Not like completely fucking broke, but he's got a broken bone in his ankle, which even still, you guys know how I feel about Fred Warner. Absolute just monster. Of every linebacker in the league. I grew up in an era with, Ray Lewis, guys like that, Brian Urlacher, where you had linebackers just like, I want to watch to see what the linebacker's doing. I feel like you don't have that as much nowadays, or you have rush edge linebackers that you want to watch. But Fred Warner as an off-ball linebacker is like a must-watch player, and this dude's been playing on a fucking broken ankle. But Packers coming off, just blowing the doors off of the Niners, riding high. Dolphins also riding high. This should be a fantastic game if the Dolphins can get these long, sustaining drives going. But if they can't, if they're trying to get the shots and just the offense wants to get the fuck off the field because it's cold out there and they want to get back on the heated benches or the heaters or whatever. Maybe they fly their own benches up there. I know teams do that, but I'm on the Packers. Let's go back to Cesar. Cesar, live via satellite. Who you got? Dolphins, Packers.
We got the Miami Dolphins visiting the Green Bay Packers. Now, let's face it, Miami in the cold does not play good, so I'm picking the Packers. Those are my picks.
Well, there you have it. The NOOB football fan himself, Cesar Rodriguez, myself, we've made our picks for Thanksgiving. Who you guys on? Hopefully, if you're betting to pass the time, you're dealing with family. It's like, I'm fuck it. I don't want to listen to these people argue. I want to fire off some bets. Remember to bet responsibly. That is sports betting advice because it's good advice. But I got one last thing I want to talk to. It's going to be just a short little episode. Like I said, we'll try and get the full episode for NOOB football picks coming soon, sometime before Sunday. But I saw this today. I've been as much as I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. There are 31 other teams in this league I would rather see win the Super Bowl than the Philadelphia Eagles. I'd rather see the Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl. I'd rather see the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl. I'd rather see the Chicago Bears win the Super Bowl. Every team that I hate, I would rather see win the Super Bowl than the Philadelphia Eagles. But I have been a fan of Nick Sirianni because early in his tenure, first month and a half as coach in 2021, things weren't going great. And he said, you know what? Being the head ball coach, calling the plays, I'm pulled in too many different directions. I'm going to give up play calling duties. And as simple as that is, people will look at it and say, it's admitting that he's not good enough. No, it's being humble enough to know what's best for the team. And it seems like a simple trait, but let me tell you, a lot of coaches in the league, they think that's weakness. No, I got it. I could do it. It's my opportunity. I'm going to show everybody. Nick Sirianni had the wherewithal and the humbleness to say, you know what? Team would be better if I give up play calling duties. My whole life, my whole career, I've wanted to call plays for an NFL team. I have that opportunity, but I'm going to give it up because it's what's best for the team. And ever since that moment, I say, as much of a goof as this guy is, as obnoxious as he is, as perfect as he is to be the head ball coach of a Philadelphia team, I respect that. I respect that he was willing to take that step down. And because of that, I've always felt like he's got some traits, he's got some qualities that other head ball coaches across the league do not have. And I respect that. I respect the humility that he displayed in that moment, despite the antics and all that past that. But as recently as, 4 weeks ago, a month ago, people trying to run him out of town. Oh, he's going to get fired. Bill Belichick's could be the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, I'm here to tell you right now that for his career, Nick Sirianni, Coach Sirianni, is 43-19 This man wins almost 70% of ball games that he is head coach for, which, and this is according to Pro Football Reference, when the table is sorted to hide non-qualifiers for rate stats, which as far as I can tell, as long as you have 3 full seasons as a head coach, you qualify for this table. Number 1 all time in win percentage, Guy Chamberlain, won almost 80% of his games. Number 2, John Madden, won over 75% of his games. Number 3, Vince Lombardi, won almost 75% of his games. Number 4, George Allen, won over 70% of his games. Number 5, all time, among all head coaches in the history of the National Football League to coach at least 3 full seasons. Number 5, all time in win percentage, Nick Sirianni. Now, I know there's other factors. Howie Roseman, we know he's working some kind of dark magic up there. He's hacked the Matrix. He's manifesting all sorts of crazy shit up there. I don't know how they keep letting him get away with it. Obviously, Howie Roseman, absolute stud. Obviously, they got studs on the roster. Saquon Barkley, monster. MVP candidate. I feel like the Bills had a bye, so Josh Allen couldn't do anything this week, so they got to look and see Saquon. This is no disrespect to Saquon, certainly no disrespect to my MVP, Josh Allen. But Saquon going crazy, Jalen Hurts, his quarterback team to the Super Bowl, A.J. Brown, the cyborg, Smitty on the other side, Dallas Goedert. You got a collection of dogs, bulldogs specifically, on that defensive front. You got Vic Fangio calling the defense. Loaded all around. But who is presiding over all of it? Who is presiding over, all right, the team has to go on the field and win football games. Nick Sirianni. And he's winning almost 70% of his games, good for 5th best all-time among qualified head coaches in the history of the National Football League. I'm not saying he's the 5th best coach of all time. I'm not saying he's better than Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, other active coaches on this list. Jim Harbaugh is 8th, Matt LaFleur is 11th, Sean McDermott's 16th, Andy Reid's 18th. And obviously, the longer you play, you're going to have the ebbs and flows. You're going to lose more games, and he'll shuffle down. But through 3 seasons, more than 3.5 seasons, to be 5th all time. And it's not like he came into a situation it's not like he took a team that's been in the conference championship game for the last 3 years running. Like if Andy Reid retired today, whoever takes over that job, they better win a bunch of games. He took over a team that wasn't in the playoffs. Took them to the playoffs. They've been in the playoffs every single year that he's been head coach. Took him to a Super Bowl in his 2nd year as coach. I'm not saying he's the 5th best coach of all time. I'm not saying he's the best coach in the league. I don't know where he ranks among current coaches in the league. But the fact of the matter is that the level of disrespect that people talk about when they talk about Nick Sirianni, we got to stop. We got to stop. The national media muppets and people of their ilk that, going back to last year, are calling for this man's head. They're calling for his head less than a full season after he had the team in the Super Bowl. Like he's out here doing some Urban Meyer and Jacksonville shit. Let's be realistic. Nick Sirianni deserves some respect on his name. He deserves some love. I'm not saying he's the best coach in the league. I'm not saying he's the 5th best coach of all time. But I am saying for a fact that among head coaches in the history of the National Football League that have coached at least 3 full seasons, Nick Sirianni has the 5th best winning percentage. And why do you play?
You play to win the game.
Exactly. So,
hello?
Let's stop clowning the guy. I know he acts like a clown sometimes. He's a goof. He looks funny. And we can make the jokes about, bald Sirianni and his, they're undefeated since he shaved his head and all that. And the hair was growing back and it was looking a little dicey in the first half. Or I guess that was 2 weeks ago. But we got to give Nick Sirianni some love. And that's coming from a man who hates the Philadelphia Eagles more than any other sports franchise in sports entirely. Only time I've hated a team more than I hate the Philadelphia Eagles was Brett Favre Packers, because Brett Favre is a confirmed scumbag, and we can say that he is now officially a confirmed scumbag, allegedly. Don't sue me. And the Yankees when they were just buying everyone, and then fucking Aaron Boone hits the home run because I'm a Sox fan. But then the Sox come back the next year, greatest comeback of all time, win the World Series, win another World Series, win another World Series, and now like the Yankees or whatever. To me, I was rooting for the Yankees over the Dodgers. But I hate the Eagles, and I'm sitting here telling you it is time to put some love and respect on Nick Sirianni's name. But we'll be back, hopefully, with a full pick show for Sunday's slate and Monday Night Football later in the week after the holiday. You know, I got a lot going on, so I don't know if I'm going to get another bonus episode in this week. But if not, we'll be back next week, Monday, Tuesday, the usual deal. Like I said, if you catch this before your Thanksgiving festivities, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. If you catch it after the fact, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for everyone who tunes into this show. I'm thankful to everyone who likes and subscribes and comments below and tell me what I'm missing about your team. Tell me what we need to be talking about as it pertains to your team. Follow us on Instagram at Football Heads Show with 2 S's, Football Heads Show on Instagram. Follow Cesar at NOOB Football Fan. And as always, till next time, take it easy, football heads.
You play to win the game.